What's up, YouTube, and welcome to an introductory video of my latest acquisition. This is a 1988 Porsche 928 S4 in Grand Prix White. Car that I've always been interested in and definitely decided to go ahead and make the plunge before it's too late. I feel like the 928s are starting to get a little bit more recognition and notice these days than they used to, so I figured the time was right. Really enjoying the car so far. I've owned it for a week, so as I said, this is really just a introductory video with some of the projects that I've got going on. Much more to come on this car as I get to know it a little bit better and get some of the things going that I'm working on with it. So we'll do a little bit of a walk around in this video, show you a few things that definitely interested me about this particular car. One thing that I have changed out right away from when I got it was I have replaced the wheels. This car originally came with the chrome manhole cover wheels, as they're known, and I didn't find them very attractive. So I have changed the wheels out to what is known as the Porsche Cup 1 design. It's used on several models of the era, such as the 964 era or generation of 911. Some of the 968s had them as optional, and then also the very late 928 GTSs had this wheel as well. I am waiting on the center caps for them, so if you're wondering why they look incomplete, they are in the mail. I should have those hopefully in a couple days and can wrap that up. But let me show you a couple other things that really made this particular car unique and why I was so interested in it. One of the things I thought was really cool was the color combo in particular. And what you'll see is this has a beautiful red leather interior that was pretty unique. Don't see a whole lot of these with this color interior from the era. It's really well kept. The car has 66,000 miles on it total, so it's very low mileage for the 32 years of age. You can take a look at a couple other things on the interior. This one is an automatic, as most of them were, which doesn't bother me. I think the automatic is a good fit for this car. The dash on this one is uncracked, which is a nice feature because many of the 928s have damage to the dash, so that definitely helped. Please ignore the empty stereo hole. It's one of my other projects that I'm currently working on, and we'll have that rectified very quick. And I'll show you the back here as well. This one has the rear AC unit, so it gives it a little bit extra cooling power, which is kind of nice. And you got these nice bolstered red seats in the back that nobody really can fit in, but they look good. And next we'll show you the trunk. So this has these very unique trunk pulls here, and you lift up on them. It pops the trunk. There's one on the driver's and passenger side, which is kind of cool. Show you the door panel here. This one has all the original speakers in it. It has an 8-speaker stereo, which was pretty remarkable for its time. It really shows how upscale this car was. And then I'll show you another thing I really like is just how solid the doors close. It's really like a vintage Mercedes that I was more familiar with, I guess. So really enjoy that. Come along here, we got this very unique glass in the back. This one was tinted due to its prior ownership in the Florida area. Show you the rear end of the 928 S4. It is a little bit unique from the earlier models. I actually prefer it. A little bit different taillights, and then you get that very cool spoiler that makes it fit in so well with the 80s rad era of cars that I like so much. And we'll take a look in the hatch. So it gives you a nice big opening to the back. There's not a ton of luggage space, but you can fold down the rear seat backs to give you a little bit flatter surface to load some larger items, which is kind of cool. Got the original cargo net here. It's handy for grand touring that this car is built for. The battery is underneath the rear mat on this car. Gives it that nice weight distribution. This car has a near 50-50 weight distribution, and it also has that transaxle design with the transmission mounted in the rear of the car, or the Weissach as the Porsche technology was called. Very innovative for its time. Also, you see the sun visors mounted to the back of the hatch for the rear seat passengers. Keeps some of the sun out from the glass, all that big glass panel in the back, which is kind of nice. So we'll close this up. This car just has a single exhaust, kind of unique for its era, I guess, but it's rather large. And we'll come along the other side here. Show you the gauge cluster on it as well. Really rather clean, easy to read, very German of its era, as it should be. And one thing that's pretty unique is the Gauge cluster can be lowered and raised all as a single pod, so it goes along with the switches and this outer housing, and you can always have that perfect view of the gauges no matter where you choose to set the steering wheel, which is pretty cool. It does have the stock steering wheel. Most people think these are pretty bland. I would agree. May change that down the road, we'll see, but it is in nice condition. The leather's really held up well. So with that said, let's pop the hood, and I think we'll wrap up this introductory tour after that. Show you the engine bay here. Paint on this car is really in exceptional shape. They took very good care of that. Not really any door dings either or anything to report. So we open up the engine bay here, and here is the 5-liter 32-valve V8. Has 316 horsepower and 317 pound-foot of torque. Everything is rather tight in the engine bay, but most of the main maintenance items are easily accessible, which is pretty nice. Really stood out to me was that ginormous air filter at the back of the engine and the air ducting to feed that, so it's pretty unique. But overall, clean engine bay. Got some good maintenance records that came with the car, so I'm pretty confident this car has been maintained well throughout all of its course of its owners. So we'll go ahead and shut that down and wrap this up. And ultimately, like I said, this was just a short introduction to the car. Expect a lot more content on this car as I get to know it and get in depth with some of the projects that I want to do to it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.